Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our backyard. My name is Crystal, and I garden south of Houston in Zone 9B. We are along the Texas Gulf Coast. We have hot and humid weather and heavy clay soil. So this time of year is usually fairly challenging for a lot of gardeners if we haven't planted plants that can stand up to our heat and humidity. So we've been doing a few things in the garden this weekend that I'd like to share with you. And one is this area right over here. So you'll notice we have a small brick border in the shade garden, and on this end, this is actually the south end of our shade garden, we put in a new little garden bed. Let me move a little closer. So you can see we have a few more bricks, these red bricks that we extended out, kind of made a little curve around. And I was really excited to see this particular plant in the nursery. And this is called pigeonberry. Pigeonberry is a native Texas plant, and it is a shade plant. So it's a bush that will actually flower and berry at the same time. See those little pretty white flowers? Little butterflies love those. And apparently the birds love these berries. Red, just bursting forth with red. And you know what's really interesting about this is very few shrubs will flower and berry continuously throughout the growing season at the same time, and pigeonberry does. So I'm excited to see what this will do. It's fairly low. It says 12 inches to 18 inches high, but it can get to be 3 feet wide. So I am hoping this pigeonberry will do well here. It says it's adaptable to many different types of soils. So we did not till this up. This is an area that doesn't get, it's really hard rock clay. It was really hard to get down in there. But what I did is I put topsoil and soil conditioner, Happy Frog soil conditioner, and built up this bed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and how well it does. So we had, as I mentioned, a wind last night, and it was a pretty strong wind, and you can see it kind of blew over my caladiums. But as I come around, I did pick up a couple new caladiums. I thought they were really pretty at the nursery. I really liked this pinkish color. I think it goes well here with the pigeonberry, so we'll see. Let me come around because I've got one new plant that is just like this one, only a different flower color and a little bit different growth habit. This is called a shrimp plant, and you'll notice it looks like a shrimp and then it flowers underneath. So as I come around my shrimp plants here that I've had for quite a while, I saw this shrimp plant at the nursery. Isn't that just glorious? It has a different flowering habit. It flowers upright, and the flowers open upright, and it's yellow. I just thought that was fabulous. The leaves look similar, right? They're larger than my regular shrimp plant, and I just was enamored with it. So I'm like, I need to get this. The tag says that it's a fast growing plant and use in borders or containers. It says plant in part sun. This will get some sun. It's not going to get a whole lot of sun, but it will get, I don't know if it will be considered part sun or not. It'll, in the front here, it might do a little bit better. So I had an issue with my caladiums back here, and so I did find some on sale at the nursery. So I pulled out the corms, saved the corms, or the bulbs, if you will, and I planted these. I really like them. I've always liked them. This one happens to be called Bottle Rocket from Proven Winners. I just love the colors of these, and so instead of having sparsely leafed in here, I replanted them. So what happened is I had that wind, right? Let me come back here. Caladiums and coleus do so well for us. Look at that coleus. Isn't that beautiful? So the wind knocked over. So hopefully they'll come back up. I hope anyway. Maybe I should stake them a little bit, but it kind of rerouted them a little bit here. And yeah, that'll probably be okay. But anyway, look at that. The coleus in through here, the caladiums. I have a Turk's cap that I grew from seed back in here. It's really pretty. And then of course the Salvia madrensis. Look at that. Oh, this is just wonderful. Those yellow blooms of the salvia are starting to bloom and open, and the hummingbirds are starting to come through. I saw yesterday my first male ruby-throated hummingbird. I knew they were in the area because other gardeners have told me you've seen them, and so I saw my first male yesterday. Today is August 19th. So when I get new plants, I usually try to put them in the garden for the shade area or protected area for a couple of days before I do plant them out. And I think I want this shrimp plant. You can see it's getting some really nice morning sun here. I do think I want this shrimp plant by my other shrimp plants, but I haven't totally decided yet. So he is not planted in the ground. But the pigeonberry is. So now I'm in the sun, and I know this is pretty stark. The lighting is really stark here. But I used to have celosia in here, and I had a lot of celosia. But it was winding down. Celosia is an annual. I had planted some of that in last fall or winter, early winter, and so it was nearing its end, and I decided to go with different some native plants. So in the back I have a salvia, and this happens to be a compact salvia. It is called bubblegum. Let me see if I can get my shade here. And I really like this pink flower. So salvia does so well for us. Let me bring up the tag. This is supposed to be compact, 18 to 24 inches, and it flowers, pink flowers from spring through fall. Plant in full sun. This is going to it's not going to get the sun in the afternoon, in the deep afternoon. So we'll see how this salvia does in this container. I do have other salvia in containers on my porch here. And the reason we love having that, having pollinator plants near our back door and our patio, is because we love watching the pollinators. Okay, next to it I have this gorgeous plant. And I, believe it or not, I have not had a Texas rock rose before. So this rock rose blooms summer through fall, and you can see that butterflies like this one also. And it is just full of buds. I love the pink bloom. And so I wanted to have a nice container here of pollinator plants. Let me show you the back of this tag. This is hardy through 10 degrees or zone 8. And it says plant in sun or partial sun, and it's going to get really good morning sun. So we'll see how this rock rose does in a container. At the nursery, the information says it does really well in containers. So we'll see. If not, I can also plant it in my landscape. I have had this little pink skullcap in my central garden bed, and it's tickled me. So let me show you. That's this one here. And I just have one plant. And this plant also is hardy, zone 7 through 10. It's heat and drought tolerant once it's established. And my pink skullcap is kind of getting overtaken in my central garden bed, but I just think this is such a cheery plant. It also attracts pollinators. Let me show you where my other pink skullcap is. So the wind last night blew, and it blew my lantana this way, but my pink skullcap is down here. Look at that, it's getting overtaken, my little pink skullcap here. I'm gonna have to probably prop up this beautiful lantana. But you know, that happens, wind happens, and you just kind of have to deal with it. And so that's where I have my other pink skullcap. So I'm kind of excited to have this one in the container. And then I usually don't plant vinca, but vinca do so well for us in the heat of summer. So, you know, we're mid-August, going to be coming into the end of August here. And vinca is the time, you know, this really shines during this time. So it says pollinators are attracted to it, so I guess I'll see. But this container is now pink, and this pink container is I'm excited to have it be right next to one of my porterweeds, and every day I have hummingbirds and butterflies come to this porterweed. So I'm excited to see how this container does, full of mostly natives, not all. And then I purchased, this is new to me, this is also a Texas native, and you can see those fantastic berries. Look at these. I don't know where I want to plant this. This is an American beauty berry. Oops. Calicarpa americana. And these berries are loved by birds. But look at that. The butterflies supposedly love the blooms. And then they have these fantastic purple berries. Look at that color. It's so striking. You can get purple or you can get white colored berries. And I have wanted one of these for quite a while now, and I found this specimen. I was surprised to find this in a gallon container. I loved how it looked. I loved how it was branching. I just don't know where I'm going to put it. So, morning sun is probably best for it down here in our heat and humidity. So I need to find a perfect spot for this beauty berry. I am so excited for it. So the other thing I'd like to share with you at this time is this. And a lot of folks don't believe that outside of where we live that petunias do not like our summer. And you know, they don't mind the heat. They do real well in heat, but they absolutely melt in high heat and high humidity. For instance, you know, every morning the humidity is above 90%, and you are just drenched in sweat. So I wanted to show you. You can see that it's still blooming. I have both the pink bubblegum and the white. I think that's snowdrift. I don't think it's whiteout. I always get that messed up with the verbena, the white verbena. But this is what the foliage does, and it just hates it here. So springtime and early summer is what does real well for us. And it brings a pop of color into the garden, these petunias. But midsummer to late summer, they absolutely hate it. And I wanted to show folks because this is, it's not attacked by any bugs. It's not, it just absolutely hates the humidity. It's still valiantly branching and blooming, but not a favorite in the garden in the mid to late summer. Oh, and before I move on, I do want to share with you that I will be pulling this out. I am probably going to put some vinca in here, some white and pink vinca, which will refresh it and make it look really good. But until I did that, I didn't want to pull this out because I wanted to show you how the Supertunia vistas protest, any petunia, frankly, in our mid to late summer. All right. As you know, I am a huge fan of Kufia. So this is a new planting that I just purchased this past weekend. And this is my David Verity Kufia. I love this plant. It blooms profusely. It is visited all day long by pollinators. This specimen happens to be in an upright position and it grows fairly tall. This David Verity, it's considered a giant Kufia. But the Kufia that I purchased, so let me come down here. This Kufia is called bat-faced Kufia, and it's more of a trailing Kufia. So this is the first time I have had this. I've seen it before. I've seen the bat face in the different colors. Supposedly that face is supposed to look like a bat with the two red ears. Kind of silly. But bat-faced Kufia. Oops, let me get this on the back here. Is a mounding perennial subshrub. It's native to Mexico, and when I was looking it up, it said yes, it's native to Mexico, but it's still almost considered native to South Texas. And it will flower spring till fall. That is exactly what I find with my other Kufia, and it's attractor of hummingbirds to the garden. It says it produces masses of these purple tubular flowers. I am in zone 9B, but golly, the last 21 to 4 years, we have really gotten low. We've had one cold snap in the winter, so I don't know if this would return for me, but I'm planning on putting this in my central garden bed. And it just has a different growing habit. It's more sprawled out, if you will. And so it is back here on the side with my porterweed. This is my dwarf porterweed, and it also is amongst the Salvia nemorosa that's starting to try to come back. The nemorosa just does not like its life in our high humidity and the heat of the summer. So I think I'm going to put my bat-faced Kufia over here. I guess we'll see. I'm still kind of feeling it out to see where I like best. So I wanted to share with you the new plantings the new plants that we had purchased. But I also had to just show you this giant milkweed is like a tree. It is just fantastic. And it's been blooming for a while now. Let me go over closer to the blooms. These are not the most beautiful blooms in the world, but they are very large. Look at that. And monarchs use milkweed as their host plants. But isn't that just crazy? I love the structure of this plant. I love how tall it grows. I love how it looks. I have this one that is flowering white. I have returning ones that flower purple. They're back in here, and it took a while to return. They're not doing as wonderful as the one up front in the container. These probably don't get as much sun back in here. So I can't show you their purple flowers yet. But I did want to share with you this monster. Isn't that glorious? Ah. Well, thank you for joining me today. This is a native bumblebee on a firebush, or Hamelia patens. He is a busy guy. It is so humid this morning. I had to chuckle. Even my eyelids are sweating. It's so crazy. But I'm back here to where I started. And I really thank you for joining me this morning, speaking about some of the new plants that we had purchased. And I really hope that you have a great day today. And I hope to see you again soon.